have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Happy Hour. Husker softball in all preseason polls. In the 4 polls, 13th, 15th, 17th, and 18th. USA Softball is part of that. Softball America is one of them as well. D1 Softball. Top 20 as a team, and they have at least 2 players in every top 50, top 100 poll, with Jordy Ball being anywhere from second. Honestly, I think third was her lowest ranking in some of those. And Billy Andrews. Usually it's those 2. There was one that had Kate Kaneda.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take,
but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. The Supernovas Radio Network is live. This is the Omaha Supernovas pregame show, brought to you by Mullen Motors.
Financial Arena, Omaha, Nebraska sends its finest to Orlando, Florida to take on the Orlando Valkyries. This is Season 1, Episode 3 of this rivalry and matchup. And we will take you all the way up to first serve, and then we will ask you to jump on to the Ticket app, the Supernovas app, or jump over on YouTube to get the full first serve, the final point action here from Orlando. Pro Volleyball Federation action on a Saturday night. It's been a busy Saturday so far. Lots to cover on the status of the league, where folks stand now currently. But next to me, Coach Renee Saunders. Next to her, Enrique Alvarez Clary, making sure Harrison Arn's back in the booth, making sure we get. Is it Josh Lill? Hey, Josh. Good to know, man. Okay, good deal. The golden tones of Josh Lill will carry us through and get us prepared for first serve. Coach Saunders, again, 6-3. And for Game 10, we kind of got some idea about what the personality and culture is of the Supernovas team. At 6-3, I've asked Coach Bird this, I'll ask you. Is satisfied a word that coaches will use about where a team stands currently, or are you asking too much?
I don't really like the word satisfied because it means you've met your endpoint, right? I feel like this team's always growing and building, whether it's people are going to step up if we substitute, players that are on the court doing something a little bit different. I was talking to Bird before the game, and I'm like, you play everybody 4 times. If as a coach we had to play somebody 4 times, you have to do something a little bit different because tendencies really come into play when it comes to that part. I mean, even when we do our schedule, we don't want to play anyone 4 times, let alone 4 times, and the last one being like a championship. So if this team makes it into the championship of this league, they will be playing a team for the 5th time. So you've got to find ways to like never be satisfied. What can we change? What can we adjust? What can we do better? You know, how can we give people a different look? Whatever it might be to kind of find that edge because you've seen them enough times that, like, even Thomas, like, they don't even want to see film because they already know what the other team does. They know their tendencies. So it's the next two meetings between this team and as we go through the rest of the season, where you're playing people for the third and fourth time, depending on obviously how long it's been since you played them before, you're really trying to find ways to, like, get those couple points to get that win.
It really is that sort of thing. That, even though you're winning 3 out of 4 sets, you've done it twice, you kind of know the matchups, you've been able to adapt and adjust. But it does come down to a matter of those specific big points, big moments in it, and then trying to adjust. We looked down at the standings and said, okay, going into today, the numbers, there were 3 teams that were playing at a 667 level. There was another batch that were playing around 500, and another group at the bottom trying to find their way after 2 or 3 wins. And you prefer to be on the top, but all of this seems to be about Omaha. That, okay, don't worry about what Atlanta's doing. Don't worry about what Columbus is doing. Handle your business. Everything else falls in line. So how is that message put in from a practice, nutrition, rest, travel standpoint? How is that message? How does Coach Bird get that message across?
Well, I think number one is coming off that long road trip where we've literally played. This will be our 6th road match in our last 7 matches. But they had that long road trip. They got like 3 days off, and then they got to actually get in the gym and train and, like, get better at some things. And they had their things that they wanted to focus on and things that they wanted to get better at coming off of that little break. And so I think that was kind of the focus. It was nice for them to be home. It was nice for them to sleep in their own bed. It was nice for them to not have a match and actually take the time to get better. And, they played a lot during that break, but also they took some time to do some training and figure out some things that have kind of been their Achilles heel so far this season.
What are those things in your mind, again, just from the 10,000-foot vantage point, what are the things that coaches want to say to not only good teams, but great teams?
I mean, finding ways to first ball side out. This league, it seems, if you can find a great line shot, it works. If you have a great tip or roll, for some reason, that's working in this league. Unfortunately for us, it's been working a lot against us. So hopefully we figured out how to dig some of those balls, pick them up, and then transition out of them. I feel like our transition offense is very good, but it's very dependent on what the other team does. So the first ball side out thing, I think, is going to be something that they're going to continue to try to really fine tune as the season goes on. But, our service passing is still pretty solid. Our defense is pretty solid. Our last match against Atlanta, our block was really solid, but there's been other games where those things haven't been. So maybe finding some sort of consistency and going from there is a good place to start.
The league is starting to identify itself and put itself in place, and we'll go through the preview of the rosters and let folks know, and a reminder, because most folks who are listening today have listened before, so they know Orlando, they know Omaha. Then it becomes, okay, who's healthy and other. But the rest of the league, sitting at the top of it at 6-3, the league is starting to form. We really talked about how many wins we thought you could win this whole thing with. And that number, you put up the number 14. Is that number still 14 at episode 10?
I mean, most teams have played about 9 matches. Some have played less. Some have played, I don't think anybody's played more than that.
No.
9 is the most. Out of 24, they got 16 to go. That means they need to win 8 of the next 6, so 50% of their matches to get to that number 14. And in this league, it's shown that in any given night, anybody could win. So the number might be 16, right? It's not going to be maybe a 50% spot. For us or Atlanta, that would be a 50% spot because we have 6 wins already. But you're looking at a Columbus would need 10 wins. Grand Rapids would need 10 wins to get to that 14 number. 16 might be the number to beat. Depends on how much people beat up on each other between now and April. Mid-April probably be a good indicator of where we're going to be and how we need to finish.
At this point, after today's match, there's only 2 teams that have put together that are currently on a win streak. Like, we're not talking about just winning the last game, but getting on a win streak. And those are the 2 teams that we get to talk about on a regular basis. We saw them in Atlanta. We saw the vibe, and since their loss to Omaha, they go win 2 straight. Omaha, even though you're on the road, to figure out how to win 2 straight. What's the key? What's the thing that keeps these teams at the top of this federation?
I think consistency in how they approach. If we get the itinerary that comes out every day or every trip, it's very, it's very consistent on how they're approaching their travel. Whether it's what time they eat breakfast, when they have their serve and pass, what time, what they have for lunch. Maybe there's a little superstition in there too. I don't know, but there's consistency and great players and deep benches. I feel like every match we've gone into, we've seen some different players for the different teams, and every single one of them can play, and that includes our bench. They've come up big in some of our matches lately.
That part of it, we thought, okay, we could focus on certain players before the season started. Some of those players have stepped up. Some have exceeded that. So let's go through who were the surprises, especially for the non-starters. Who were the people that, you're a first-time listener to the pregame show. Who are the players on the Supernovas that from the bench side of things, they've stepped up, they've contributed, and they've made a name for themselves again?
Maggie Cartwright, man, in our last game here, she comes in off the bench and absolutely rocks the opposite position for sets 3 and 4 and helps her team get a win in her pro debut. I thought that was awesome. I think we have 2 fantastic setters. So between Nadi and Sydney Hilly, you have those 2 great options for setters. You start one, things aren't working, you always have another one to go to. They have great connections with their hitters. They run a great offense, always something there. Nia Reed, also one that we haven't seen as much on the right side, but fantastic phenom athlete, bounces balls. She's been, as the year's gone on, the season's gone on, in warm-up, I feel like she's getting better and better. And then Paige Briggs coming off the bench. She was impressive in her outing when Brooke was out.
I'm always fascinated that you're a player of this level. And just to get to this level, you have to be exceptional. You have to be top 1%. And then to get here and then sometimes be thrown off of your game, off of your normal routine, not getting the minutes or rotations that you normally get. We talked about it before. I'll ask you again. How do you keep those players sharp, tight, ready in case you need them?
I think it starts in practice. Number one, I think you have to constantly mix up your lineups, give them opportunities in practice to beat out a starter, and I think that's what this coaching staff does. Someone else I forgot to mention is Mayfield.
Yeah,
she was fantastic in Columbus. Again, another bench player coming in, making a positive impact on a match. She was another one that did that. So I feel like every bench player that's gotten an opportunity has been a positive impact on the match. But I think in practice, them having time to play and train and mix things up and give people opportunities, and then obviously having a lot of conversations, and not all of those conversations are probably good. As a head coach, you have to have difficult conversations, and you have to challenge your starters, but you also have to keep your non-starters engaged and ready to go. So you always, as a coach, you always tell people to be ready in it. You don't want it to get their hopes up, but you got to be ready, right? Because you don't know if the person in front of you is going to have a bad game or get hurt.
Well, that
you just don't know.
That sky is falling conversation that coaches have to have. That, hey, be ready, be ready, be ready, be ready. And you go, okay, you said that to me. We're nine games in. Some of those players that you mentioned got their call, and they were ready. I'm just impressed by the fact that this coaching staff manages to keep everybody ready, no matter what. And I think a big part of that, and maybe undersold and underdiscussed, is the assistant coaching staff. Let's go through some of the 2 Johns and this roster of coaches who hold it together for Coach Bird.
Well, I think John C. and John X are master trainers. They are fantastic at they're big arms in the gym. They can do lots of different things. They are great at training positional and developing players on this team. So they're going to be engaged in making sure we're doing the detail type stuff right. Thomas is young and boisterous and a little he's got a little swag to him. He's kind of a fun he's a yin to a yang, right? He's going to bring the good positive energy, but he's also has a very high IQ for his age and his experience. And he came from Wisconsin, came down, got on the staff, and he's been a phenomenal person. Then you've got Bird, who's kind of obviously the final decision maker, but she takes input from all the coaches. I mean, every time I ask her, all right, why'd you make this decision? We decided it was best. It was always we. And then I think the addition of Jazz Schmidt onto the coaching staff also brings a little hype person, and to go from like a player to a coach is you have that connection, right? So now you can kind of be the player's coach and all those different things that you need. I feel like we have a very balanced staff that bring a bunch of different, I don't know what the right word is, but like not observations, but viewpoints into how the game is approached.
Well, it also gives each player a different opportunity to have somebody else that they connect to, or that they can talk to, or that it can reach them, right? That sometimes it'll be John X, sometimes it'll be John C. So it might be the nutritionist. It can be anybody else on the staff that gives them a different voice. And it is a thing. We coaches know that you need a different voice sometimes.
100%.
Right? Just
like,
to reach.
All three of us could say the same thing to any one of those players, and it will only be heard by one of us.
Yeah. It is an amazing thing. But a part of being this close to it is watching how it breaks. We'll go to break. When we come back, I do want to get a little bit more into that because nutrition is a factor. It's tough to handle on the road. It's tough to handle at home. It's way more difficult to handle on the road. All the things that happen with a road trip. Again, DP, Coach Renee Saunders, Rico, sitting next to us for live Edition Financial Arena for Orlando, Florida. You're listening to the Supernovas Radio Network.
Hog Wild's giant stuffed baked potatoes are anything but basic and really hit the spot when you're craving a little comfort food. Nothing is more satisfying than a Hog Wild baked potato loaded with butter, sour cream, cheddar cheese, bacon bits, and chives. Add your choice of a Hog Wild house smoked meat like pulled pork, chicken, or brisket for a little extra. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win 2, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
Edition Financial Arena, Orlando, Florida, on a Saturday night. If you're spring breaking, congratulations. If you're not, you're probably in Orlando. Because Orlando doesn't need spring break. It's 80,
They don't.
It's 80 plus degrees.
You can go to the beach every weekend.
Yeah, you know.
I don't feel bad for the students down here.
No, they're outside in tennis skirts and shorts. It was that kind of day pulling up to it. TP next to Coach Renee Saunders. And Coach, we were talking about how a lot of success is management based. Whether it's personnel management, time management, nutritional value of those things. The staff that Coach Bird has put together, again, you've got, Laura's here, she's trying to keep them in shape, stretched, conditioned. You've got to worry about nutrition, meals to plan on the road in somebody else's space. You've had conversations with Coach Bird about it. What are the big issues, the roadblocks to keeping this thing moving forward and up as it needs to?
I don't know if they really have, like today it was like being in the sun too much, right? Like everybody, they all wanted to be at the pool for a little bit, so then they had to come down and be like 5 more minutes. That's all you get. Like you can't be, you can go out there, but you can't be out there, all day long. Like you have a game to play, you're not going to have energy type thing. Luckily, I don't have to play. I got to stay at the pool a little bit longer than the players today.
I handed out some of my sun time today. I didn't think I needed as much as
I'm just trying to catch up. Just trying to catch
up.
up.
But it's that thing that the sun is either recharging or it's depleting.
Yep.
And there's a fine line between it, so it's a thing to manage. And then on the road, what are you putting into your body? It's Orlando, and it's a long travel from Omaha to Orlando. It's not an easy trip. And so with the bad weather in Nebraska, it extended everybody's day. You have to get a good night's sleep. You have to put good things in your system. How does Coach Bird manage that?
I honestly don't know how much she does. Like when I watch, I feel like she really gives the players, empowers the players to make their own decision on what's best for them. And I think it goes back to we're professionals. I don't need to babysit you. But at the same time, I think what we can control here, they hired such a staff. We have our coaching staff, right? But then our support staff, we have Becca Himes, who's our head athletic trainer, but I think she does so much more than that. From her microdosing workouts to their warm up to everything else, she kind of is a do it all type person. She came from Texas A&M, was there with Bird, was there this past season as well. The head team physician, and then Brooke Smith, who not Brooke Smith anymore, Brooke Snyder, but most people at Nebraska land know Brooke Smith. Is their team nutritionist, and I think that her ability to work with them and help guide them in making road decisions and what's best for their bodies and what they need to be eating is the Omaha team is not short of support in terms of all that. And if the goal, after serve and pass, they have their their Jamba Juice or whatever they're drinking, their smoothies that they have plus wraps, and then they have their post game Chipotle, and they all know their orders to the breakfast that's catered in and the pregame meal that's catered in. I think it's all very intentionally done and all with the education of all the people they hired to do that. I'm not a nutritionist, so we're going to hire a nutritionist to make sure that we're doing it right. I'm not a sports psych. We're going to hire a sports psych to make sure we're doing it right. Omaha covered all their bases when it comes to that. So I think the players are very well equipped going into travel, knowing how important sleep is and how important nutrition is, and knowing how important you take, stretching and just taking care of your bodies when you're on a plane for, yesterday was quite the day.
Way too long.
Yes.
Way too long.
Sometimes not even moving.
I don't care where you were sitting on the plane. It was too long.
It was. And too small.
Well, that's tall people problems. In volleyball, that's a real thing.
And I'm short compared to these guys. I can't even imagine how their flight was.
That's why I went straight to the room and stretched out, because spending that sort of time. So I can't imagine the unwinding that an elite body has to do to now go and face other elite bodies in a top level volleyball match. But it's a thing that's in play for all of it. You mentioned the psychology of it. We're talking about 17 different personality types. All right, we're talking about 7, 8, 9 different management types, right? Nope, none of the assistant coaches all have the same skill set level. They all have different talents, different things that they key on. How long does it take to make all this work?
However long it takes. There's no timeline to, I think, but that's the cool part. As a coach, as a player, is you bring all these different people from different backgrounds, different coaching styles, different everything, and you put them together on a team, and then you find a way to get them to become one and achieve at the highest level. And that's one of the coolest parts about sports is the fact that you're bringing together different people for one common goal, and the ability to keep them together. And there is a sports psych to it. So obviously it's Dr. Larry Woodman does a lot to help them maybe combine their forces, right, and help them gel as one, but it's also helping them tackle their own upstairs and make sure that they're in the right headspace when they enter these matches. And, our team's worked with Doc for 5 years, and I know the value of having someone like that when, once again, sports psych is not my area of expertise. So you hire people around you that fill in the blanks on your weaknesses, and I think number one, you got to know your weaknesses, and I think that having a sports psych around to help these guys get through their season is important.
Well, we're at episode 10, season 1, and it's going to be another good one here in Orlando. We'll throw a break when we come back. I'll ask Coach Saunders to take us through the Valkyries, the first 2 meetings with Omaha, how that played out, why it played out the way it did. 3-1 wins for Omaha in both of those matchups. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Supernovas Radio Network.
After the snow-packed winter we've had so far, people need some green, which is good because Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery is back. Until April 2nd, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is double. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So slide into your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer and play to win some green today. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 100, 5,000.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that Potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Supernovas come in at 6-3. Valkyries come in tonight, hosting this one at 4-5, and I'm going to reach 500 for the Valkyries. A chance to extend the 2-game winning streak to 3, and there is some importance to that in trying to stay at the top of the Federation. Earned. Nothing given, everything earned. I'm DP next to me, Coach Renee Saunders, and Coach. The Valkyries, we've seen them twice. This is episode 3 of the matchup. The keys and the difference in players will matter. So we'll spend some quality time here talking about the 3 players that sort of jump out. If I said the first 3 players of note for Orlando, and here's what's funny. When I asked you this a week ago, there was 3 different players. We saw in match 1 without an eye what they look like. In episode 2, it's without Joseph. Now, it looks like a complete roster. Give me 3 key players for Orlando that Omaha needs to look at.
It's funny because I want to say like, oh, it's going to be this lineup and these are who they're going to start and these are their projected starters. But like, I could see it going differently. It has every single time we've played them. I can say with confidence that Dora Anai is going to be important tonight for Orlando. Like, she has to produce. We did a great job kind of keeping her at bay in the last match. So she's obviously one we need to watch. Azani Teeler gives us havoc on that opposite spot, not just with her attack, but with her block. And she scratched her arm or finger on the score table in the last match, ended up missing the end of it. Was that the reason they lost? I don't think so. But I mean, obviously that plays a little bit of a role. Melissa Evans came in, did a really good job for him. But and then I think the last one's going to be Rivera, and the setter. Wilma Rivera is a fantastic setter. She's savvy. She knows what she's doing. She's played a lot, and she's a great leader. But I always like to choose a setter because they touch the ball every time. And so their ability to impact the match is slightly greater than everybody else. So those would be my three. Now, who knows what's going to happen? I think Shaina Joseph is available. She did not play in either of the last two because she had rolled her ankle. And then who knows? MK White and Kaz Brown are obviously always going to be good.
Gets the ball in her hands so much. And it's purposeful in how they use her. She attacks from all over the court, all over the floor. So it doesn't really matter. And then, just talk from a point standpoint, she led them in points the previous meeting between these two teams. So that is the thing that we need to talk about because there's depth in it. They attack from different places. If I said to you, is this a game where if we said setter for setter, it'll dictate the outcome of the match? Is that a true statement?
I think to a certain extent because they're making the decisions on who gets the ball. So yes, but then at the same time, execution plays a part. Like you can get the ball to the perfect person, and they could miss. Right? They could get blocked. They could swing wide. They could go for high hands and go long. So there's a lot more that goes into it. But like the decision making of the setter plays a major impact. So a setter who doesn't make great decisions is really predictable in what they do. Is going to be an easier setter or team to slow down, despite the tools on the other side, than someone who kind of keeps the other side guessing. And Jill Gillen, she's just so much fun to watch. And I don't leave her off because I don't think she's one of the top three. I just think that she's one that's going to get hers, right? Like
she had 60 swings.
Yeah, she's going to get hers. So then to me, that's your consistent factor. It's going to be those other three that then play a part of what happens. But she 100%, like, she's done a great job every single time they played us. And I assume she's going to also do a great job tonight, but it's going to take more than her to beat us.
Valkyries in the middles and trying to get them active and productive. Who are the key middle players? And then, quite frankly, what's happened in meeting 1 and 2 with their middles?
I feel like everything's running together. The players, the arenas, the hotels, the buses, the bus drivers. There's a little bit more memorable here, but it's just one of those things where,
I did that as well. Yeah, I did that today.
This bus is a little bit more memorable, but it's one of those things where it's the third time playing. So who's going to step up that maybe didn't in the previous two meetings that could make a difference or make an impact on the outcome of this game? And that's not just for Orlando, that's also for us. But I think their middles are fantastic. I felt like we saw much more offensive Vuchkova for us, more offensive Dixon for us. Our block was a lot better in our last match against Atlanta. So I'm hoping that we can kind of grow on those things as this match plays on, because I don't feel like those were necessarily strong in our last two meetings. So different matchups provide different things.
There's a name that I was trying to get to. I was trying to get to Kaz Brown because we watched her in the first matchup, and it was like, oh, she was in critical points. She was right place, right time. It's her and Georgia Murphy that kind of set the pace, tempo, and temperature of this Valkyries team. Kaz Brown will have impact today. Coach, what are your thoughts on Kaz Brown?
Kaz Brown's a fantastic player. She's super fun to watch. She's huge at the net. I mean, MK White and her Bolt, they're very similar players. Like, it's funny how they have two middles that are so much alike, but they're alike in terms of, like, how long they are. But Rivera's so smart in how she uses them. She puts them into their best hitting positions, gets them the ball when they have a one-on-one block, and so their efficiency is through the roof. Like their kill percentage is usually 45+%, but that's because of the setter. I think that makes a big difference. And they're just defensively, they're fantastic at the net. So yes, right place, right time, or maybe they're just really smart and they put themselves in position to make plays when you don't expect them to.
Yeah, and watching it, and then because I went back to watch the previous two, just to, as you said, they tend to bleed together, and to look back at it, and then I just went, oh, there were those bench moments from Orlando when they got good service runs, and then when they tried to attack is where they ran into some issue. Talk to me about this Omaha bench and who's in play.
Oh, who's in play for the Omaha bench? I think everybody's in play every match. You've got Gabby Thompson in case Kendall's off. You got Gabby Thompson who can come in and play libero. You've got, I'm pretty sure we're going to go with Nadi today. You've got Sydney Hilly ready in the wings if Nadi's having off or they're taking advantage of her smaller block, even though she blocks a lot of balls. Mayfield's probably going to be one of the first ones off the bench into that outside hitter position if Brooke or Betty are a little bit off.
Omaha's bench. Orlando's bench.
Oh, you said Omaha.
Orlando's bench.
Oh, Orlando's bench. We could see everybody.
Yeah.
And Melissa Evans on the opposite. She came in a couple times. Carly Scott came in. Basically, they could go with, my guess would be Shina Joseph we might see on that right side. Melissa Evans we potentially could see on that right side. Ari Cruz we haven't seen yet, but I have a lot of respect for her. She's probably the oldest player in the league and 42 years old, still playing the game, which is phenomenal. Carly Scott could come in and make an impact if Anaya's off or Gillen's off. They're kind of like us. They're kind of deep, and they have people that have proven they can do it when they're given the opportunity.
It's going to be a rotational night where you go, okay, matchups will get you through and tell us kind of the way. We'll throw the break. When we come back, we'll get into that Omaha bench and the players that we were, because we could talk about them for a whole show because of the way they all do different things that are important to Coach Bird and the Supernovas' success. So we'll throw the break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Supernovas, the depth of it, the quality of it, and then the skill set. Who does what for Coach Bird and the Supernovas? I'm TP Coach Renee Saunders. We'll be right back.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win two, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th. Basketball fans know assists are crucial to winning. The skill of setting up others is an art. And one Nebraskan team that takes that art to a new level, it's Platte Valley Equipment. Their team always sets you up for land care success with sound advice and John Deere equipment. And Platte Valley always delivers low monthly payments. That's one assist that's a slam dunk. Visit PlatteValleyEquipment.com. Proud sponsor of the 2024 NSAA Boys and Girls High School State Basketball Tournament.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tag-on, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
The good sports at Bison don't just manufacture sports equipment. Our employees watch, play, coach, and support student athletes at all levels. We're proud sponsors of the NSAA and big fans of the state basketball tournaments. Good luck to all the teams and welcome to Lincoln. If your team needs new basketball, volleyball, soccer, or other sports equipment, visit www.bisoninc.com or call 800-247-7668. Or pick up a basketball hoop for your driveway at Nebraska Sports or Shields.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
It's just people weird. Oh my goodness, Edition Financial Arena Omaha is getting loose. Through all of this, Coach Saunders, we've become accustomed to a level of play and a depth of play that is probably the difference between where Omaha is in the Federation and other teams. Everybody's talented. Everybody's starting lineup is deep and strong and fluid. But it appears that Omaha has figured out how to maneuver, manipulate, manage their bench at a higher efficiency level and a more productive level than anybody else in the Federation. What is it that's happening with this group of players and this team that allows Omaha to get so much from its bench?
I think it's just a great coaching staff, that really has conversations and lets people know where they're at, but also knows where we're weaker, where we need to get better, where we need to be challenged, how they let intermix everybody. I mean, every practice I've been to, you don't know who the starters are. They intermix people all the time, and it gives everybody an opportunity to show their stuff, compete with the other people, and try to earn a spot. But then when they don't, they're so supportive of the people that are. They're very much, I think I've said this a million times, they're just really good human beings. And yeah, of course, everybody on this team wants to play. They all want to start. But at the same time, they also know they're all in this together. No matter what happens at the end, they're all in this together. And if they can walk hand in hand and move forward a step at a time every practice, then that's what they need to do. And I think that's managed through the coaches. I really do. And I think they do a great job with it.
We had the opportunity to attend a practice during the week. Shout out to a dear friend, Anthony Lionheart-Smith from the UFC and ESPN, who brought his family by to watch. And a thing happened that he said, well, geez, I'm pretty sure that the Supernovas second team would be second in the Federation because they're so talented. There was no noted or market difference between rotation 1 and rotation 2. And the management, that's what we keep harping on, the management side of it, the chemistry of it all, and the depth of it, the balance that, listen, having servers coming off the bench who actually get production for you. So let's talk about the folks who come off the bench to put serves in play and to help get the Supernovas on a run from the service line.
Paige Briggs has one job: go in, serve, get points. I mean, that's it. And she's shown that she's valuable as a 6th rotation outside hitter, but they found that her role, she has a great serve, and I think that's a really hard job to do. Anytime I've given one of my players that role, I know that it's one of the hardest roles in the gym. It's not just hard because you just come in to serve, right? But it's hard because that's your only opportunity to be on the floor. And so it's easy to put a lot of pressure on yourself. And I think that obviously people in that role have to embrace it, knowing that they want more, but the team needs that. And so role acceptance is really important. And I think Paige is a team player, and she's proved that, hey, if Brooke goes down, I can help out. But hey, if you want me to serve, I'll serve. I'll do whatever it takes for this team to do better. So Paige is right off on that. Next one that I would say comes in off the bench, outside hitter-wise, be Mayfield. I mean, she proved in Columbus that she is a great player and should be in the mix in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, we don't always need to substitute. Our last time in Atlanta, we didn't substitute at all, but we didn't need to either. So you kind of volleyball's a weird sport. You can have a 10-point lead and you could lose because you get comfortable. You put in subs, you think you got it down, and then all of a sudden things start to not go your way. And volleyball momentum game, as a coach, I don't like subbing a ton because I know that it's never over until it's over. And I've seen crazy comebacks. I've been on the side where we've come back, and I've been on the side where we lost. And so I like better being on the side where we come back. We're down big and the other team puts their subs in and we're like, all right, let's go, let's do this. But it's a weird sport, and anybody who coaches it or plays it knows how big those momentum swings can be. So I think Mayfield's one. Maggie Cartwright came in last time we were in this arena and just killed it on attack. Fantastic on attack, great on block. She actually served really well too. So she kind of did it all when she came in. So I think those are your 3 coming off the bench that can be immediate impact if we need them. Sydney Hilly, obviously, from the setting position would be the next one that would come in, and Gabby Thompson, if we needed someone to come in and get a break on the pass, she's the perfect person to come in and do that.
The Sydney Hilly conversation is unique to me because she was playing at such a high level. And just quite frankly, Nani decided, you know what, I'm going to play at a higher level and make things difficult when it comes to time on the floor and time on the court. But how does she hold it together? That's a pretty important position. And to have her commit to it, buy into it, and then be willing to deliver on call is just impressive from one end to the other.
Well, yeah, because she's probably at both ends of the emotional spectrum, right? Like emotion one, I'm starting, we're winning. And then emotion two, Nadi goes in, we're winning, and now I'm sitting. You know, granted, she rolled her ankle and it gave Nadi an opportunity there, but you know, the original word competition means to strive together, right? So if we're battling, we're doing it to make the other person better. We're not doing it to like beat them out, even though yes, you're trying to beat them out, but in doing so, you're making the other person better. And so I think Nadi and Sydney have a very good game of cat and mouse, right? Like I'm going to push you and you're going to push me, and we're going to both just keep getting better as this process goes on. And if you get the call, great. I'm going to cheer you on. If the team needs me, I'm ready. I'm going to hop on there too. And so I think they, you know, for Nadi at the beginning of the season, I think she was in that same as Sydney is now, where like she probably wanted to play too. When the first practices I went to, like Nadi came out of a drill and she just like looked at me. She goes, I just want to play all the time. Like that's just her personality. And it wasn't like I want to beat that person out and I want to be the starting setter. It was like I love to play volleyball. And I just want to play all the time, even if it's just practice. I just want to play volleyball. You know, she just has such a like, they both just have really good outlooks on what they're doing and their craft and their team and like why they're both really important to this team. And I don't think that value is diminished by being a starter or being a non-starter.
I always find it interesting that in the conversations about elite players in different situations, that sometimes it is the situation that dictates somebody's mood about it. Right? Nobody wants to play when you think that it's over. You want to be put in when it matters most, right? The critical moments, come in and make big plays. Through all of this, there are players like there's Mia Reed that we know can play at this level. And she's been patient and waiting and waiting. What happened? What goes through her mind? Because tonight could be her night. Now, again, you said this is episode 10, and you said it 9 times. Hey, be ready. But we both have a sneaky suspicion that when she gets the call, she's going to answer.
Just watching her warm up, it seems like every time she's jumping a little higher and hitting a little bit harder. And, you know, you could take it as like she's angry, right? Or she's like, I'm going to freaking unleash on some balls and I'm going to show her that I'm ready too, you know? And again, like just Shaven Landsman's been playing pretty darn good. So you don't really change out something that's working. But if you need to, you have so many options. Like Maggie Cartwright on that right side, Nia Reed on that right side, and just Shaven Landsman. They all play the same position. They're all really good. They do different things well. You have to find what fits this team best in the moment. And it might be Nia. It might be Maggie. It might be Jess. But it's a win-win, and it's the coach's job based on all the practices that they've watched and they've ran and the previous opportunities for them to make that decision. And then as a player, you got to trust them that they're making the right decision.
I'm going to ask you to pull back before we go to break. I'm going to ask you to pull back the Wizard of Oz curtain on a coach's hunch. It's not really a hunch.
It's a gut instinct.
Right? Like
it is.
There's a depth to it. That, you know what?
It's an educated gut decision. Like there's like, I really want to play this kid, but my gut tells me that this is the right one for the moment. And then you do it. And it's weird because when you're in the pressure of the moment, there's no doubt in making your decision. And it's all because you've seen them every single day in different situations, and you just know that that's the right call for that moment. And I feel like we've seen different people, and so they knew what the moment called for. Like Paige Briggs got the call when Brooke, because her ball control and her 6 rotation ability was so good at that moment. She was fantastic for it. You know, Maggie got the call that time because she hit a great line shot. They weren't great at digging line. You know, so like you have these, you know what your offense, like Mayfield got the call in Columbus because she was terminating the ball. So everybody gets their call based on certain reasons, and the coaches just know. It's just a gut. It's You just know.
It's the hunch.
It's a real thing.
It's the hunch. DP Coach Renee Saunders. We'll throw it away, come back, set the starting lineups for both Omaha and Orlando. We are at the Edition Financial Arena. Orlando, Florida. You're listening to the Supernovas Radio Network, powered by 93.7 The Ticket.
Nebraska Corn Board is expanding access to higher blends of ethanol across the United States, including in California. The Nebraska Corn Board is partnered with Pearson Fuels, who is the largest and fastest growing distributor of E85 in the state of California. In 2023, California sold 120 million gallons of E85, an increase of 55% since 2021. The Nebraska Corn Board, enhancing demand, adding value, ensuring sustainability.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that can surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group are Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln. Welcome back to Edition Financial Arena in sunny Orlando, Florida, as the Omaha Supernovas get ready to take on the Orlando Valkyries. I am super producer Rico, as DP likes to say. To my left, the coach, Renee Saunders, as we get ready to take you through the starting lineups for the Omaha Supernovas and the Orlando Valkyrie. Coach, the Omaha Supernovas, how are they lining up?
It looks like it's going to be outsiders. It's going to be the same way we ended in Atlanta. So we're going to have Brooke Nunaviller, Betty De La Cruz at the outside hitter. Going to have Tori Dixon and Christina Buchkova in the middle. Just Shaven Landsman at opposite. Nadi Valentin Anderson setting, and Kendall White in the white, literally.
Kendall White in the white with the beautiful jerseys. We'll take you through Coach's jersey. What did we call it last time?
I don't remember.
It's Coach Saunders' fashion report.
The fashion report, because all my players will be laughing right now because I'm so fashionable.
You're extremely fashionable.
I'm so blah.
You're extremely fashionable.
I do kind of like the Valkyries are in like a baby blue. I'm a Tar Heel fan, so I'm kind of digging the baby blue. And the other time we saw them, they were like, remember they had like armored shoulder pads.
That was
looking
in
on
Omaha. When we were down here last week, I believe they had the whites on.
Oh, maybe they did have whites on.
They had the whites on.
And we bust out the pink to blue fade. We should take a poll of how many, like, Betty De La Cruz is rocking the pulled up socks, which is like an older style. Gabby's in leggings. Sophie and Nadi and Tori are in leggings, and Jess is in leggings.
You mentioned the pulled up socks when we were at Pass and Serve.
Serve and pass. Don't even. You know how I feel about that.
You love it so much. Coach, the Orlando Valkyries, how are they lining up?
I think we're going to see Jill Gillen. I have to say the Valkyries with like a grain of salt. I could be totally wrong on this because I feel like every time they throw a lefty at me that I don't expect, a little quick turn. But Jill Gillen, Adora, and I on the outside, MK White and Kaz Brown in the middle, Georgia Murphy at libero, Azani Teeler on the right side, and Wilma Rivera at the setter position. I'm pretty confident in that. That's what they have as their projected starters. They did lose a player. Blake Moeller is out for the season. She got put on the long term. It looks like she might have been a hip something based on the brace she's wearing, but so she will not be active tonight. But we could see Paula Sarami coming in to serve. She usually does. Carly Scott's played against us a little bit. Shaina Joseph has not, but I would not be surprised.
Shaina Joseph is not on the online stats page. Everyone else that you have mentioned is, however.
So I wonder if she's on short-term IR. She might be.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the transactions, but I thought she just played. I thought it's a mystery. Blake Moeller got put at season-ending injury, which I already said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not seeing Orlando. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's not active tonight. She's not on any of the short-term stuff, but that might not be updated yet either, because sometimes it's goofy. It's goofy. But I think either way, I think we're going to see, she just banged the ball. She's playing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They just didn't put her in
I
yet.
thought she warmed up.
Oh, she 100% is warm. She just skied on that last one.
Yeah.
So my guess is this has not fully been put in yet, or because they're still
working on.
They've been working on cameras. They've been working on, the lineups, all that kind of stuff. So they might not have everything active yet.
Now, Coach, when you play a team for a third time, and I know DP mentioned it earlier, the first time they matched up, Orlando didn't have Adora and I just mentioned her.
Shaina Joseph.
Or Shaina Joseph. The second time, they didn't have Shaina Joseph again. But in this one, it looks as if they're almost fully healthy. When you play a team for a third time and things are moving around like that, what is something that you're going to look at if you were leading the Supernovas?
I think in all honesty, you've got to take away what they do best and try to push them into maybe shots they don't like. So Anai really likes that sharp cross-court shot. Gillen really likes the line shot. So you want to try to take them out of their strong shots and put them more into a position where they're hitting to your best diggers. So I think that's one thing they can do. Serving aggressively is always going to be really important for the Supernovas. We're a really good serving team. We're also a really good passing team. So I think those two things will be important for them tonight, and their ability to run their middles. Because as we've seen, when Wilma Rivera can get the Valkyries middles going, they're very efficient. The same is true for the Supernovas. When we can run our middles, they're also very efficient. The middles are an important part of the game. And so I think us being able to run our middles and hopefully contain theirs a little bit, slow down their pins, good to go.
Being able to run the middles and slowing down the block to get your pins open shots or at least some one-on-ones is very important for Omaha. Now, oh my goodness. My train of thought just left me.
Keys to the game. Give me those coach keys to the game.
Coach keys to the game. Number one focus is first touch. That's Bird's first one every single time. So the serve and pass. Notice it goes serve and pass, meaning there's really not a pass without the serve. So serve and pass. That's first key. Second key is apply what they worked on in training. So this week they really wanted to compete. They mixed up their players. They worked on defense quite a bit, playing the seams, getting those tips and roll shots picked up. So a lot of that setter-hitter connection. So applying what they did in training to the match today, they really worked a lot on hitting line, which I think is going to be important, especially for the right side for Jess. Because as you know, I've mentioned it multiple broadcasts that I love when she hits line, because she only does it about 10% of the time. So her ability to hit line will be important tonight too, because scouting report says she hits cross court. So our efficiency will go up by having a variety of shots. And I think that's part of what you need when you're trying to beat a team 3 or 4 times. And then the final one, it's always the same thing. It's outwork, out hustle. And in a way, I think go with the ebbs and flows and stay the course, and that's kind of my own little saying. But when you're playing a team 3 times, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. You got to stick with what you're doing and remember the game plan. So I think that's going to be their main keys.
That'll set us up. You jump over to the Ticket FM app, the Supernovas app. Jump over to YouTube for the live video stream. First serve coming up. Orlando, Florida, the Edition Financial Arena. DP. Coach Renee Saunders on the call. Buckle up, boys and girls. Should be a good one in Orlando. Volleyball Federation action coming up here on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Nebraska Corn Board is expanding access to higher blends of ethanol across the United States, including in California. The Nebraska Corn Board is partnered with Pearson Fuels, who is the largest and fastest growing distributor